So, Cosmic Ghost Rider destroys Marvel history. And then you see this cover of Ghost Rider in a spacesuit sitting on top of a bunch of dead heroes. You're probably thinking, what the fuck is this? I'll explain this here in a bit. This book is not some parody by any means. It's an official Marvel book, and it does toe the line between ambitious fun and flat out ridiculousness. But this will make a little more sense once we dive into this, so let's dive into this. Okay, cover here. Now this is the first page. It gives you a little bit of a setup. Let me read that out for you. Frank Castle was a dedicated Marine and upstanding citizen when his family was killed in a mob hit. From that day forward, he led a one-man war on crime as the Punisher until he died. And then he returned as the Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance, and then became Galactus' Herald, and then became Black Right Hand of Thanos, and then died and went to Valhalla. Attempting to right Thanos' wrongs, Frank returned once more, going back in time to kill baby Thanos. Instead, he raised him, but Thanos still turned out horrible. So Frank went back yet again to return baby Thanos where he found him. Now Frank is stuck in the past. God help us all. So like I said, this sounds flat out ridiculous, doesn't it? That's because it is. So the start of this page takes you through how we've got to this point. Frank Castle was a dedicated Marine, saw his wife and kids die, then became the Punisher, but he is killed, and then he makes a deal with Mephisto, thus becoming Ghost Rider. Then he became Galactus' Herald, like Silver Surfer. This is how he becomes a Cosmic Ghost Rider. Then he makes a deal with Thanos. He tries to right the wrongs by going back in time to raise a baby Thanos, and then messed that up. So he went back in time again, and that's where we are because he's stuck. So as you can read here at the top, Punisher is in the past, and this is right before his family dies. He's at his old house, and as you can see his kid, right, running around with a cape and Spider-Man draws. He then sees his wife. He didn't want to explain that he is 2 million years from the future, so he says his name is Frito, and he's Frank's uncle. Maria gets a call saying her daughter got into a fight at school, so that's where she's headed. Yeah, old guy that favors her husband just walks in and she's comfortable with him watching her son. This is all weird, man. So future Frank Castle is with his son, who doesn't know that obviously he's his son, and he then reveals himself to be the Cosmic Ghost Rider. The kid asks why he's never heard of him, and this is when Frank starts telling the story. Now, Frank was Cosmic Ghost Rider, and Uatu the Watcher, who is a cosmic being, jumped in front of his space motorcycle, which causes him to wreck. He was stopping him because he is going to, of course, interfere with history. Nonetheless, randomly, he saves the Fantastic Four from the ship that gives them their powers. Ghost Rider says, "What's up, nerds? Don't freak out." And then they became the Fantastic Five. This gets more ridiculous as he claims that right before he got them all their little Fantastic Five suits, he quit, right? That's what he tells the kid, but actually they kick him out, as you can read in this panel here. Then he starts telling the story of how after that he met Galactus. Basically, the Watcher sends Frank to divert Galactus to hide the Earth from him. Now remember, Galactus' thing is taking energy from planets. In fact, Frank told his son that he's like the Cookie Monster, but instead of cookies, he eats planets. But he visits Galactus and reminds you this is in the past, so though Galactus is the reason he has the cosmic powers, this is a past Galactus who doesn't yet know who he is. I know, it's a mess. He claims that as he was telling Galactus of a new planet to consume, Silver Surfer showed up and punched him out of jealousy. Remember that his job was to find planets for Galactus. Then Galactus instructs Silver Surfer to take him to Earth, where he was, met by the Fantastic Four. Then Cosmic Ghost Rider returns and convinces Galactus to eat Throne World instead. So he leaves Earth while leaving Silver Surfer stuck on the planet. Basically, if you can't tell, these are loose depictions of what actually happened in both Silver Surfer's and Fantastic Four's little origin stories. Only the Cosmic Ghost Rider is just now part of it. Also remind you, this is a future Frank telling the story to his son. The son says he loves Galactus and that Silver Surfer is a jerk. But the stories just keep getting more and more ridiculous. He tells the story of how him, Hulk, Spider-Man, and Wolverine became the new Fantastic Four. A Skrull by the name of Delia put together this team, and basically Cosmic Ghost Rider called the other Ghost Rider to the side and replaced him as part of the team. But the Skrull was disguised as Invisible Woman and convinced the others that the original Fantastic Four was dead, and that's how this team, more so why this team was made. Basically, this is just another ridiculous story of them fighting Skrulls. Next story picks up when the Fantastic Four were defeated by Doctor Doom and the Thing was killed. Cosmic Ghost Rider then helps them build a device to travel to heaven and really get the Thing. But initially, he doesn't want to come back. The team is, however, reunited, and they meet God himself. He says that God was pleased to see them all, but directly under, it does say God says that that abomination has to wait outside of the office. For those that don't know, this is the story when the Fantastic Four met Jack Kirby. It's one of the coolest stories that Marvel has ever really had written for them. So upon ending that story, Maria and her daughter, Lisa, returns. Future Frank goes to the bathroom only to see, of course, the Watcher behind him, and he knows that he's got problems with him going into the past like this and possibly altering these events. And that's how we end this ridiculous issue. So yeah, this is a ridiculous story, straight up. This goofy as all hell, and depending on your taste, you may like it. Again, Cosmic Ghost Rider sounds ridiculous anyway, but this for sure reads like a Deadpool comic, as it's like really comedic. We'll see if I continue to keep up with this, but I think at the very least it may be a cool reference to the past, like events throughout Marvel's history, but don't go into this taking this seriously, because you can't take this seriously. Anyway, that's gonna do it for today. Remember, if you become a patron over at my Patreon, you do get review requests, so if you have any comics that you'd like me to dive into, be sure to check that out. But that's gonna wrap it up. So until next time, man, y'all be easy.